wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it wasn't that great either. Was this book even necessary? I am freaking out because my copy of It Starts With Us has finally arrived. Now it's been literally 3 excruciatingly long days since it has actually released. My copy has finally made it to the bookstore, so off we go. Okay, I'm in the car. Super exciting. Guess what I just bought? It came in the mail. It came in-store pickup. I am unbelievably excited. This is skinnier and shinier than I thought it was. Because the last book was around 400 pages. This is like 310 or something. Quite short. I will finish it today. And I will devour it and probably sob in every way possible. But I'm so excited. I read It Ends With Us back a couple months ago, actually, so I don't need to reread it because the events are still fresh in my mind, which I love. And I also reread the ending like I think a week ago, so I know what everything happens basically. So I'm unbelievably excited to see Lily and Atlas's story play out. Not much Ryle, I really don't care much about him, but I know he's going to interfere a lot because that's like the whole idea behind this book. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up now so we can get into the reading vlog. Okay, update on It Starts With Us. I'm on page 72 now. I'm like a good quarter into the book. So it's going pretty well. All we're getting so far is just building Lily and Atlas's relationship. And the whole complex in the story is basically that Ryle is throwing a wrench into Lily's relationship with Atlas because she's afraid that if she dates Atlas, Ryle will become like explosive and angry beyond belief, that he just cannot contain it and just lash out at everything and everyone, and thinks it'll not only harm her but her child, especially when she's with him. And it's also brought the question up about Emmy, her daughter Emerson, not being able to stay overnight with Ryle because she's afraid that he might have attacks. And it was really interesting to read, like, because Ryle would ask her, like, when will I be able to keep her overnight to sleep over at my house instead of always having to drop her off back at yours when she could just sleep over? And Lily was hesitant to say it because she didn't really want to hurt his feelings, but she said, when I know I can trust you not to hurt her. And it's really sad, but like, it's true. Like, you don't know if he's going to pull that kind of stunt again after whatever happened with Lily, right? It's really sad. But with Atlas, you could see he's a bit more forward in like him and Lily dating, which I like. It's nice to see him more present throughout the book and his lifestyle and everything. So that's what's going on right now. I'm really excited for when Atlas meets Emerson, like in person. So far, they've FaceTimed him and Lily. And so I just want to see like their first interaction because I feel like that would be so sweet because he's such a gentle soul and such a good person at heart, and to see him interact. But what like I think we're all just like afraid of is that scene, wherever it is, where him and Ryle have to interact, because it's going to happen in this book, because that's like a big issue too, because they can't stand each other for good reason. More from Atlas's point of view than Ryle's. No one can care about Ryle at this point, but it's sad. Okay, I'm gonna continue reading. Let's continue. So I'm on chapter 13 now, page 114 of It Starts With Us. I like where it's going. It is a little slow, I have to admit. Although I really am enjoying this story so far, it doesn't feel the same as when I read It Ends With Us. And I think because there was a lot more profound things going on, but we get a bit more backstory on Atlas. Like, I know we already know pretty much majority that we need to know, but there's more backstory revealed about, you know, his mother and his relationship with it and how he became homeless in the first place. That was interesting to know about. And the one thing I'm worried about is that I don't want it to seem like it's an exact replica of Lily's story and like how he faced abuse, similar like how her mother, like Lily's mother, faced it from her father, that kind of thing. I want it to be different so that they more contrast each other rather than like completely like replicate each other, if that makes sense. Other things is that they went on a date, which is cute. Not gonna explain the details, but it's going well. I like it. And I'm still anxious for when anytime Ryle's in the picture, because we just know he's going to get upset for whatever reason. But what is cute is that when you see him bond with his daughter, Emmy, I always love those scenes. So that's really sweet. I just wish we would see more of Lily having those kinds of moments, so I'm waiting to read more of those. Anyway, let's continue.
None of us will find Sophie now searching books. Yes, don't think it was wrong. Sophie may very well show that if she does.
Okay, update now. I'm on chapter 20, page 176 now. So we basically got some big things happening so far. More so on Atlas's perspective. There's a big changes heading his way. And I am actually really liking the parallel nature you see between Lily and Atlas, because I feel like it's more compatible now. And I'm not going to say why. If you are in this area, it's like a little more than halfway through. It's pretty significant. Anyway, we also were informed of who was the person vandalizing Atlas's restaurant and the crouton crook. The crouton crook. That's a funny name. So we found out who that person was and their whole dealio behind this. And another thing is that I just love Atlas's quote-unquote therapist, Theo, which is his co-worker Brad. His son is Theo, and literally Brad will bring Theo to the restaurant sometimes just because he can't like leave him home alone, and Theo is literally Atlas's therapist, so he talks to him all the time about Lily and just gets advice from him. And it's just the funniest thing because he's literally in like high school or something. Not even, he's like in 8th grade. So that's where I'm at. I'm really excited. I think I'll update probably 2 more times or 1 more time before I give you just like the overall thoughts and final update, but I'm excited. Let's continue. Okay, I have officially finished It Starts With Us now. Overall feeling of this book, I gave it about 4 out of 5 stars. It honestly did not match the tone or even just the appeal of the first book as much, although it was very entertaining and just a nice little, you know, experience for us readers who loved the first book. It just didn't hit the same at all. So I gave it about 4.5 or 4 out of 5 stars, one of those, mainly because of those reasons. Now let's just go into a bit of detail. So first things first, this book, when you read it, it literally just feels like oh, that's so cute. Like, that's just the general impression you get when you read it, just because there's a lot of sweet moments you see between Lily and Atlas, and also Emmy whenever she shows up. However, those moments are quickly disrupted whenever Ryle comes into the picture as expected. Now, in this book, it's expected to see Lily and Atlas's relationship really bloom, or blossom in this case, or bloom, whatever you want to say. And yes, it was good, but the overall pacing of the story just felt a little rushed, to say the least. Now, a lot of people say, was this book even necessary? Why did she write it? Honestly, she even wrote it in the acknowledgments a little bit. She did not anticipate the hype or even the explosive growth around It Ends With Us, and so she thought it would be a nice surprise or just a little bit of fun for fans who loved it. Colleen Hoover herself even mentioned, like, I thought after It Ends With Us it was done, I didn't even need to add more, but just the hype around it and the anticipation surrounding what could happen next was so intense, she just couldn't help herself but write the other book. Do I think it's kind of a money grab? A little bit. Just because I feel like this book isn't very necessary. I don't consider this book to be a sequel of It Ends With Us. It just seems more of like a novella that happens afterwards. Yes, it includes some primary progressions and certain character developments, but like you could just read the first book and it would give you enough. Some things that I do like is we see growth in some pretty problematic people. I'm not going to say who. It's not a lot, but it's enough to say that you can tell that they are trying to do better. We'll leave it at that. Maybe not for the sake of a lot of people, but for the sake of those who matter. We'll keep it to that. Other things is that, other than the pacing, that it was rushed, yeah, there was a lot of cute scenes between Lily and Atlas. I felt, though, like, it was almost very predictable. Like, even Lily and Atlas predicted the ending, if you know what I mean. Like, it's quite obvious how it's supposed to end, but it was nice seeing those things come about. Other things is that, like I mentioned before, we did find out who was vandalizing Atlas's restaurant, and there's more significance to that than meets the eye, which is interesting. And we see just the full extent of that and how it really impacts his life and other people around him. And it's interesting to see how in this book you see the theme of like the past is like coming back. And in this way, it's nice because they turned it more into a positive thing rather than a negative thing like they did in the first book. Now, a huge thing that I mentioned before that I was anticipating was the Ryle and Atlas encounter. It did happen. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it wasn't that great either. But we do see some maturity out of some people come out of the mix, which I appreciate heavily. And yeah, that's just, I don't want to spoil it. Like, this is just something you just have to read. Overall, bottom line, red underline, Ryle is an ass. Overall, I thought it was good. Quite skinny. I binged it in a day. It is very entertaining, but I think It Ends With Us is clearly better. This book is quite unnecessary because it's very predictable what happens, so on and so forth. So thank you so much for watching this vlog. I am so happy to be finished with this book. It is not one of my favorites of the year. I was hoping it was, but it's not. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace.